Morning, Commissioner Hubble.
Good morning, Janelle. How are you?
Very well, thank you.
Good.
President Hubble, looks like Commissioner Wilson and Meyer will not be attending today.
Thanks, Michael. I had seen Ezra's email, but I didn't know Tom was missing too. And so, okay, hopefully nobody else will be gone.
Good morning, Ellen.
Good morning, Janelle.
Thank you. Commissioner Murphy, are you with us via telephone?
Yes, I am, Janelle.
Thank you very much. Would you mind just
Yeah,
putting your name on that, please? And thank you.
putting my name on what?
Um, you know what? I will do it for you. You show up in the meeting just by a phone number, so I will put your name. So we
Hey,
know
thank
this
you
is
very much. Appreciate it.
no problem.
Good morning, Janelle.
Good morning, Commissioner Bookland. Thank you for the sound check. Good morning, Commissioner Eskridge.
Good morning.
Thank you.
Okay, good morning, everybody. It's 8 o'clock. I'll call the Sewerage District Commission meeting to order. Let's see. Welcome to all of our guests. And Janelle, would you like to go through the guidance, please, for the meeting?
Yes, thank you, Commissioner Havel. Good morning, commissioners, members of the public, and staff. To help us have a smooth meeting, I'm going to review just a few decorum rules for all to please follow. Number 1, please ensure your mic is muted unless you are speaking. Number 2, please state your name before speaking. Number 3, for those who are speaking, please have your cameras on if possible. You may turn your cameras off if you're experiencing technological challenges. And number 4, as a reminder, the public chat has been disabled, but you can still send messages to the host. And this meeting is being recorded and streamed live on YouTube. So with that, let's have a great meeting, everyone, and thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Janelle. Michael, do you have any announcements?
Yes, one announcement that this is our last meeting of of 2023. And on behalf of all the staff, I'd like to wish commissioners a happy holiday season and New Year's. And so that's my only announcement for today.
Okay, thank you, Michael. Okay, so we begin with a couple welcomes, and then we'll have three proclamations regarding retirements, and Michael will read the proclamations. So the first welcome is for Lucas Vogt, maintenance mechanic, and John Martinson's going to do the introduction.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is John Martinson. I am the Mechanical Maintenance Supervisor. I would like to introduce you our newest team member, Lucas Vogt. Lucas started with us on November 27th. He was working at Madison Metro Transit in Madison, Wisconsin, where he was a Class B mechanic working on buses, doing preventive maintenance, troubleshooting, and brake work. He also repaired and diagnosed electrical systems and programmable logic controls. He's had training working with skid steers and forklifts too. When he has free time, he enjoys hanging out with the family, traveling, and he likes buying tools. Please join me in welcoming Lucas to the district. Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome, Lucas. Enjoy your tenure with the district. Then we'll have Jim Meyer introducing Taylor Cross.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Jim Meyer. I'm the Electrical Maintenance Supervisor. It's my pleasure to introduce Taylor Cross today. Taylor grew up by Lake Redstone in Sauk County. She now lives in Cambridge with her husband and dog. Prior to joining the district, Taylor was doing residential and commercial electrical work as an apprentice. She also did low voltage and fiber optic work at AT&T, which is what initially sparked her interest in the trades and the goal of being an electrical or getting her electrical license. During Taylor's free time, she enjoys reading, cooking, camping, and hiking. She's also in the midst of a home renovation, so it's not uncommon for her to get home from work and immediately have to pick up the tools on another project. Taylor's excited to be joining us in this role, maintaining our infrastructure. She's looking forward to getting her industrial electrician's license and learning the wastewater process and just getting to know everybody at the district. So please help me and welcome me, Taylor Cross. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Jim. Welcome to Taylor Cross, and you too enjoy your tenure at the district. Okay, that takes us to people who are retiring. Michael, the first is Jeff Mike.
Yeah, I'm happy to introduce a proclamation for Jeff Mike. Jeff has served the district for 33 years, joining the district in June 1990, and he'll be retiring in January. He began as a labor crew member and progressed to ending his career as the mechanical maintenance supervisor. He has made numerous contributions to the district, including serving on the Waukesha biogas engine expert. He is the engine expert since they have been installed, and rebuilding hundreds of critical pieces of equipment and blowers, pumps, thickeners, headwork screens, and the like. He has additionally served as a union steward and a longstanding member of the Joint Apprenticeship Training Committee. His dedication has benefited the district through reliable resource management, and he is a very good mentor and has addressed many tough challenges through the years. And I know personally, I've seen him, he's a very good supervisor and a very skilled mechanic, and this became really clear a couple years ago when one of those Waukesha generators was being lowered down into one of the basement areas to be remounted after being fixed. I don't know how many tons that generator weighs, but as this large crane was bringing the generator down and the mechanics were down, they had to fit it on some bolts, and making it fit perfectly was really a challenge. And Jeff was looking down into the tunnel area and said, well, just nudge that corner just a little bit. And the mechanic just nudged it just a little bit and just completely fell into place. And I'm like, that is a person who knows what he's doing and has the experience. So So with that, let's give our sincere gratitude to Jeff for his 33 years of service to MMSD and wish him the best in the future for him for the time he has had here.
Okay, thank you very much for all your years of service, Jeff. It's much appreciated. Okay, Michael, the next is Steve Klein.
Yes, Steve, he has served the district for 17 years, joining the district in 2006, and he also will be retiring in January. He began as a building and grounds crew member and progressed, ending his career as a senior journeyman mechanic. So he's really grown in his skill level and his career. He has been a reliable asset to the district, making mechanical contributions to the district, including automotive repairs. He's a certified water supply cross connection or backflow technician, and his dedicated work has really benefited the district through the years. I'd like to recognize Steve for his 17 years of service to MMSD and wish him the best in the future.
Okay, thank you much, Steve, for your 17 years of service to the district. It's appreciated by all. Okay, that takes us to the last one, Chris Heen. I don't know if I pronounced that last name right.
You have
Michael?
it, President Hubble. I'm really pleased to provide gratitude to Chris Heaney, who served the district for 20 years, from joining in October 2003, and she'll be retiring in February of next year. During her career, she began as a programmer analyst and continually developed her expertise, ending her career as a senior programmer and analyst. She has made numerous contributions through the years and have been involved in a lot of different projects, updating our programming standards, administering our WAM system, developing automated data transfers. She was also on the wellness and holiday committees, and did a lot of work there. She has diligently contributed to the succession planning by thoroughly training her successors for the district, and that's been very intentional on Chris's part. And she played a leadership role in helping to guide district programming approaches to adapt to quickly changing technology landscape. One thing about Chris, when I started at the district, we had a very marginal website. Marginal, I'm saying probably with, it was barely existed. And Chris was able to take a leadership role to help rebuild the website to be a respectable website, and also help develop our intranet site. And at the time, we didn't have any money. We didn't have any communication staff, and Chris just really stepped up to do that for the district. And I really appreciated her doing that for the district. So let's recognize Chris and offer sincere gratitude to her for her 20 years of service to MMSD, and let's wish her the best in her future.
Okay, thank you very much for your service, Chris, and then congratulations and enjoy your retirement. Okay, thank you to all. And that will take us to appearances by the public. Is there anybody from the public that wishes to make a statement on anything? Anybody from the public? Okay, I don't see anybody, so we'll move on to the consent calendar. Let's see here. We've got, excuse me, the approval of the minutes from the November 30th meeting, the approval of the cash statement operating, cash statement capital funds, review and approval of sanitary sewer extension projects. I think just the one new construction that I see to Forest. Review of bids and award of purchase for pumping station 16 pump C replacement. Review of bids and award of contract for aeration control building 2 valve replacement. And then finally, acceptance of work for final clarifiers 4, 5, and 6 effluent launder replacement project. Do we have any questions on any of those items before we get a motion? Okay, Seeing no hands up with any questions, do we have a motion to approve the consent calendar?
This is Commissioner Freeze. I'll move approval.
Okay, motion by Commissioner Freeze. Do we have a second?
This is Commissioner Eskridge. I'll second.
Okay, motion by Commissioner Freeze, second by Commissioner Eskridge to approve the consent calendar. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. And any opposed? Okay. Oh, there's Brad with that. Okay, motion carries. So that will take us to topics. Michael, you're going to lead this off on the professional development options for the commission?
I will. And this is something that Commissioner Meyer suggested we place on the agenda. I'm sorry he is ill today and cannot join us for this discussion. And the commission has indicated actually earlier this year when you revamped the chief engineer and director's performance evaluation process that you also wanted to work on your own commission development. And it is codified in the commission policy book in 2 areas that show we're going to continue to work on our own professional development and self-education and activities to help us govern better. And so today I thought what I would do is just get a sense of what would be some of those interest areas to commissioners for your own personal growth on the commission, and if there are areas for collectively you as a commission you would like to learn more and grow as a team, so to speak. There are a lot of potential areas for development. It could be around governance process and policies, wastewater basics if you're new to wastewater, wastewater basics for policymakers. What are the utility emerging trends, kind of looking out a ways, leadership development, policy making skills, and just overall team building. There are a lot of different ways in which to gather that information and do that skill building, and the district has supported commissioners in this regard. For example, every year there are some commissioners that attend the water policy fly-in with me, where we meet with Senator Baldwin and Senator Johnson and Representative Pocan, and we also hear from the EPA on regulatory trends. There is a One Water Summit every year that focuses most on water equity, social science, climate, and One Water thinking. There is the NACWA Winter Conference that focuses on management and regulatory issues, and the conference this year in February is called Claiming the High Ground. And then there's seminar work. There have been commissioners that have been involved in some water governance, or not water, but policy governance training around monitoring, performance monitoring, and that was an online training. So there's a lot of different ways to plug in, and not every commissioner has to plug in every year, but it is those are opportunities afforded to you as commissioners. So I'm interested in your thoughts, your individual interests here, because what I can do once I get a sense of your interests, I can find opportunities that connect with those interests, because there's countless opportunities for development. And then maybe we could end our conversation today with, as a commission, as a team, what are some things you'd like to focus on as a team? We could bring in an expert speaker on an area of interest to you. We could have a longer retreat style meeting where we bring in a facilitator around a specific topic. So really, there's numerous options for the commission to develop this year. And I think what I'll do right now is just stop talking and turn it back over to you, President Hubble, and to see where commissioners are on this topic.
Okay, thank you, Michael. Ken, you have your hands up or hand up?
Yeah, Michael, I think this is a good topic to discuss. I thought you, in the packet, there was some decent potential options that you highlighted. Personally, the wastewater utility emerging trends and basics for policymakers, if there was any type of online options for that, that would tweak my interest. On in the analysis and options area, I think a expert speaker coming in from time to time makes a lot of sense. If there's anything associated with PFAS testing, origination of PFAS, how does it end up in the wastewater to begin with? Anything like that, just kind of came to mind. And for my own personal schedule, any type of online training works a little bit better than hopping on a plane and going to a conference. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Ken. Anyone else? Beth, go ahead.
Hi, thank you. I just wanted to echo, I think for myself, governance and policy making would be really helpful. I'd really, I think, benefit from that. And then I'd really be interested in trends, upcoming trends in wastewater treatment and actually even upcoming water issues, because I know that there are issues coming up with water shortages and groundwater. And the availability of groundwater. So those kind of issues would be really interesting for me. And then also online training would be great. I think that's really great. So yeah, those would be my interests. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Beth. Sarah, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. I agree. So not to pile on, agree with what Commissioner Clark and Bookland have shared. The additional piece I would add is I think if there were any training available in thinking proactively about finances, particularly affordability programs for utilities. And I know we're kind of on the leading edge when it comes to wastewater, but there might be lessons we could learn from other utilities in that area. I think that would be really helpful. The other tidbit I'd add is to the extent that we could either bring a speaker in or participate in these things as a small group. I think it's always helpful, especially if we do things online, which I agree is just easier for me, to have a session to debrief them, talk over what we learned, discuss implications for us here. I think it's just much more valuable than taking these as one-offs as individual commissioners. So to the extent we can coordinate our participation, I think that would be helpful.
Okay, thank you, Sarah. Anyone else? Marcia?
Thanks, Chair. I think everyone has captured what I would say, but I'll just say it so Michael hears it. Being a newbie, when I look at the charts and see all the chemicals and, it's still kind of, a mystery. I know we don't want to be over things, but so the basic, wastewater basics would be good. Maybe that's something just we do as an onboarding thing, and not everyone that needs to do it, because some of you have skills in that area, and I obviously am the Renaissance elected person and don't have those skills. I also am really interested in trends and One Water, so just similar to what others say, online's fine. Some local event would be fine. I'm less likely to go on a plane as well. Thanks.
Thanks, Marcia. Beth, you have your hand up again.
Unmute myself. There we go. I just had a second thought, and this is maybe a little bit off base, but I thought I'd just throw it out there anyway. But one thing that I struggle with as we go through budgets and our rates are increasing and everything is how we can, and maybe this isn't for the commission, but I'll throw it out there, is how could we better serve the underserved in our community? I mean, I always struggle with that when we increase rates and such, and I don't know if there's anything that we can do, but I just want to put that out there as something that we might want to think about. Thanks.
Okay, thanks, Beth. Brad or Greg, or I think we heard from everybody else. Have any observations? Go ahead, Brad.
Yeah, I agree with the general comments that most everyone. So a fan of online training, inclined to participate in those opportunities, or bringing in speakers or little events versus going somewhere for a conference in the wastewater industry. Governance is always of interest to me, and what others are doing within the industry in a variety of different areas. I'm always a fan of learning what other utilities are doing in when we confront an issue. I'm always thinking about, well, how do others address it? And bringing in, share what other utilities are doing in these areas would be of interest to me.
Okay, thank you, Brad. Anyone else? Well, I tend to agree with the topics, the wastewater basic for policymakers. I think Marcia had suggested maybe just onboarding, but I think it might be wise for all of us. One thing I recall when I would go to conferences is that sometimes you didn't learn much new, but it put things in a different perspective, or it reminded you of stuff you had learned once before and kind of put in the back of your mind. And then, so I think the wastewater utility emerging trends is also a big one, Michael. And I think people are kind of split between online courses or bringing somebody in. And I tend to favor the idea of bringing somebody in for a commission meeting or session where we could cover some of that. And then governance also was one of the topics. So, anybody else have anything?
President Hubble, I'll just add, all this sounds fine to me. I will just echo that it's hard for me to get on a plane and go somewhere. So, but I also do think that some shared learning is sometimes more valuable than staring at my screen. I stare at my screen a lot, and it is sometimes a little more valuable to bounce ideas off people in a live environment, for me anyway. So if we could bring in a speaker on a specific topic, and I agree with what you just said. Even though I have a background in this field, I certainly think a refresher course on what we actually do here, every year, every 2 years is appropriate. For me personally, the governance thing, which is certainly a weaker spot for me, is of interest. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Greg. So, Michael, the only thing we didn't really cover if they would do a retreat or not. I think the way I'm kind of getting it is that people would probably, if we do it in person, is probably at a low attended or low packed meeting in terms of items. Might be a wise thing. So, oh, you have what you need, Michael?
I do. I just have one ask.
Okay.
This has been very helpful. I'm wondering if there would be a couple of commissioners that I could reach out to work with on some of these governance topics, and just maybe refine a little bit of an agenda and topic area that I could bring back to the full commission. Maybe like 1 or 2 commissioners who'd be interested in working with me. It might be a couple of meetings, and we could explore options. Then I can bring something to the full commission that kind of connects with all of your interests. So I'll just pull it out there right now to see if there's any commissioners that would like to work with me on that.
Okay, anybody volunteer? Beth's got her hand up. So Beth looks
Yeah, I'll
like
be happy to do that. since that's a
Okay.
topic I'm interested in.
Okay,
As would I can't find my raise hand feature, so I'm doing it on.
okay. So Beth and Greg are willing to do that. Thank you for your volunteering on that aspect. So I guess that covers that topic. Marcia, you have a comment?
Yeah, as you all notice, I'm not really good at coming to in-person meetings at 8 in the morning. So could we at least try to have options that are not at 8 in the morning for those of us that kind of roll out of bed and turn our computer on and we can make that, but being prepared for something and, you want to get early and sort of greet people. And I don't know, I'm just not an 8 a.m. morning person anymore. Thanks.
Okay, thank you, Marcia. I don't know if we could plan one of these that would be later, like over the lunch hour or something. It's people's work schedules, so. What do you think, Michael?
Commissioner Rummel, are you suggesting that maybe our standard time for meetings should be we should reconsider that or take another look at it?
No, I don't want my own personal thing to change everybody else's. So I understand if most people are working. I mean, I can get here. It's just I do like meeting people in person, and I just decided I would just come online, and that's how I would participate. But if we were having a retreat or a speaker, or maybe there just could be some other opportunities to meet at different times.
Okay.
President Hubble, we've been doing 8 o'clock meetings since forever on Thursdays. And at it may not be the worst thing for the commission to at least have a discussion about it and look at, what you want to get done in your agendas and public access and all of these pieces, and just say if either reconfirm that that's working or consider other options, especially in light of how we're conducting meetings now with some virtual. So
yeah,
I'll leave that up to you, President Howell, to see if that would be something you want to put on for a future agenda topic.
Yeah, we can talk about that at our next Monday meeting, Michael.
Okay.
Okay, so Michael, you have your orders. Let's see.
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you. Okay, thanks everybody for your comments. Okay, that takes us, I got to get the agenda here, to the Chief Engineer and Director's report. Michael, the CED update.
I have 2 things to report. First is we had an air permit deviation that occurred on November 20th and continued intermittently until December 6th. And the deviation was a result of a malfunction in the biogas flare regulator, which is supposed to restrict the flow of digester gas when the flare is not running. Because of this malfunction, a small amount of gas was found to be leaking into the atmosphere without being combusted during those times. Once we did discover the problem, the valve on the discharge side was closed, and which effectively stopped the gas flow. And this was confirmed through our flow metering. A work request is submitted, and the issue is may even be corrected by now. Then we'll resume normal operations. The H2S emissions over the duration of this period was approximately 10 pounds. So that is the deviation from our air permit. The last thing I want to report, unless there's any questions, is we had the 4th Badger Mill Creek stakeholder meeting yesterday, and it was a really, really good meeting. Our facilitators put out a stakeholder survey of the members of the stakeholder group, outlined some of their interests. There was a really good presentation by Dane County on some relevant projects in the watershed and their overall strategy for how they look at watershed management. I found it extremely enlightening. There was also a presentation on potential projects such as groundwater augmentation. The team began to, in small groups, list potential project areas that sound promising. And then they were reviewed as a full group as to what areas are of interest and what areas will require more learning or the group would like to learn more about. So all in all, I see this group progressing and starting to really focus as a team on doing this work together. And I thought it was a really good meeting. So that's my report, unless there's any questions from the commission.
Commissioner Rummel has got a question.
Well, related to our last item, having somebody from Dane County present on watershed management might be a topic that we could get as a whole commission. Thanks.
Thank
Good
you.
suggestion. Yep. Okay. I don't see any other hands up, so we'll move on. Alan, your last operation report for 2023.
Good morning, commissioners. Yes, Commissioner Hovell, the last one for 2023. So I guess I gotta actually confirm the share. You can see my screen, I presume. Yeah, it looks like so. Okay, so this will be presenting actually the November operation parameters for the district. There we go. These are the normal dashboard graphics that we provide. So numbers looked really good for the month. Overall, CBD05 was down. We do have a number of limits that shift towards the end of the year. Different months in the spring, they tend to tighten up for the summer months. As we get closer to winter, they tend to relax a little bit. So some of these are seasonal. So the CBOD number is higher than what you may be accustomed to seeing. So we're well below the limit on that, and the actual treatment number had dropped on that. So 2.8, pretty good number, right in the historical range for what we've been doing of recent years. Ammonia levels again down. Anything under in that around a tenth of a milligram per liter is generally that's considered really good treatment for ammonia. So those numbers are really good. Suspended solids for November was, I think I'd mentioned that we were having a little bit of, as we went through seasonal transition, struggling a little bit with some surface solids in the plant, specifically for those more acquainted with our treatment plant, plant 1, maybe a little higher. Those are starting to come back in line in December. So we'll get into that next month, but 7.2 for the month, which is well below our, well below our permit, but it's still, on the higher end of the historical range. And then that phosphorus number kind of tracks, right with that. So approximately that same level, 0.43. We're doing much, we've come down quite a bit. It actually really came down towards the end of November, and that's continued, as we're at midpoint of December at this point, those have continued. So chloride values kind of right where we normally been tracking. And then fecals, this is our last month of our new longer disinfection season. So 60 most probable number per 100 milliliter of effluent. And so that's good treatment, very acceptable numbers. We've got the system off now and are setting up for off-season maintenance to prepare for March 1st. We'll have that system back on again. So taking care, it's three years now, believe it or not, that this has been in operation. So we're starting to see some of the things, some of the wear and tear starting to show up for that, which is normal. Nothing that I would consider abnormal or anything to be concerned about. But you start getting the point where you've got to do the maintenance in order to not become a bigger problem, and that's starting to be what we're seeing with that. So not shown on here. MetroGrow, I at last meeting had indicated I thought they might get out a few more days hauling. That didn't actually pan out. So the weather just we got a little more rain that weekend than was expected, and so in the end, with that, and we'll be showing that on next month's broader summary. But that ended up we did not do any hauling in December. So we're at the beginning of December. We were at about 10%. Total volume, storage volume occupied. So really good shape to get us into next year. So any questions on the plant performance metrics? And I can't see any hands or anything, so.
Okay, anybody have any questions? Nope, thank you very much, Alan. Okay, that will take us to Paul on the regulatory and legal.
Good morning, everybody. Since this is our last meeting, I will cover both regulatory and legal, starting on the regulatory front. Currently, the legislature is scheduled to have a floor session in February, but after that, the legislature will be out for the rest of the year. So we've got kind of another couple of months of potential activity there. There still is an impasse between the governor and the legislature on PFAS funding, and we'll see how that pans out. There's a relatively new bill that I've noted in the update, but I want to mention. It's called the Urban Towns Bill. And it arises out of a couple of town and city disputes in various parts of the state. In my opinion, not particularly well drafted. It applies to utility districts, which usually doesn't include ours, but it's not entirely clear in the bill. But what the bill does is it requires connection to from the governmental unit in an urban area or a utility district, basically to anybody in an urban town. And where this is typically an issue is that normally when say a municipal utility extends service, it does so conditioned upon annexation or a similar governmental agreement. This would essentially preclude that and require municipalities to connect. Assuming this doesn't apply to us directly, I think the biggest impact could be town areas attempting to join, say, out in Middleton or Monona or Waukee. So we're watching this. The league has registered opposed. Our municipal environmental group has registered opposed. Not sure kind of where this is going at this point, but we will continue to monitor that. On the rules side, the legislature held a hearing yesterday on the anti-degradation rule and sent it back to the department to address a series of objections. And from a municipal wastewater standpoint, our issues, I thought, were addressed. But I think that the primary objections coming from the industry side caused the legislature to reject the rule. So we're in the process of trying to figure out exactly what was sent back and what wasn't. It happened just yesterday, but we will continue to monitor that as well. So kind of a little bit of a flurry of activity towards the end of the year here. In terms of the legal side, November was I don't want to say blizzard, but certainly more than a flurry of activity. We had about 50 hours of time in a lot of items on the regulatory side, as as Michael mentioned, the Badger Mill Creek group is going forward, but there's parallel issues to sort out with DR that we've been working on with respect to Badger Mill Creek and the new permit reissuance. We've also been involved with some notices of violation to one of our septage haulers and looking at septage hauler contracts to make sure things like oil and grease are not creating issues for the district hauled waste. We've had several easements and deed restriction issues come up. Some related to sewer lines, but some also related to some public access issues. We've had an intergovernmental agreement with Monona underway, some ongoing property management issues, the ever popular 457 plan issues, and some standard open records and open session questions that have come up in kind of a more routine manner. So a lot of activity. We're hoping that things will quiet down here a little bit as we get into the holidays, but that's what we have for here. So I'd be glad to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you, Paul. Anyone have any questions? I don't see any hands up. So
Okay.
you're good. We're good to go. Okay, that will take us to future meeting schedule. So our next meeting is on the, excuse me, in January. That will be in person. I think this is January 11th, if I remember right. And then the second meeting in January will be virtual. At least it's intended, unless something pops up otherwise. So does anybody have any future agenda topics? Any other business? If not, we need a motion to adjourn. Tom Wilson's not present today, so we need someone else to step up.
I'll make that motion, Commissioner Clark.
Motion by Commissioner Clark to adjourn. Do we have a second?
This is Commissioner Freeze. I'll second.
Motion by Commissioner Clark, second by Commissioner Freeze to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And any opposed? None. Motion carries. Thank you, everybody. Have a good holiday season.
Happy holidays, everyone.
Yep,
You as
we'll
well.
see
Thank
you
you,
in
everybody.
January.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.